So before this video begins, I do have a quick announcement slash update I'd like to give to you folks. I've been working on a review for a couple of games. One of them is for Sly Cooper, the other's for a game called Mutant Football League, and another one is about a game called Shadow of War Middle Earth. Now, I do want to let you folks know I already have my Mutant Football League review done. That review's all done and ready to go, and I just need more time to work on the Sly Cooper review and the Shadow of War review. So I figured I'd give you folks a little update on my upload schedule of what to expect in the future. So expect a couple of game reviews in the future. So with that out of the way, let's get on with today's video. So Black Myth Wukong has been out for at least a little while now, and a lot of people have got their hands on the game and they have tried it and they played it, and people are just absolutely loving this game, especially because it is just such a damn well polished and a damn well thought out game. Now, I want to get Black Myth Wukong and I want to try it, but I've been hearing reports about how Black Myth Wukong was a digital exclusive game and there's no physical copy for the game. So I've been very hesitant on getting Black Myth Wukong because there's no physical copy and I want to try to preserve the game so that way I can play it whenever I want, like at some point in the far future down the line. But other than that, I mean, people are just absolutely loving this game. We haven't had like a smash hit like this since like Helldivers 2, if not then Baldur's Gate 3 and Elden Ring. But Elden Ring came out in 2022 and that game was blowing people away, including myself, and I don't even like Souls-like games, and I still enjoyed Elden Ring. We also have Baldur's Gate 3 that came out in like 2023, and that game was an absolute banger, and it's still a massive banger to this day, and people are still figuring out fun little secrets and all that in Baldur's Gate 3, which is awesome. And I love Baldur's Gate 3. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is still a massive success and a massive phenomenon. But now, here we are in 2024, where we have a couple of great games, and one of those great games is Black Myth Wukong. And a lot of people are absolutely enjoying this game, especially because now in today's day and age for modern gaming, developers are just more focused on live services and selling you battle passes and skin bundles and trying to keep players attention with mediocre content updates. But however, Black Myth Wukong has none of that. There's no live service, there's no battle pass, there's no $20 skin bundles. You get the full game. You get everything in there. Like, people are loving the combat, people are loving the graphics, the story, the gameplay, the way that the game feels. Like, people are just loving Black Myth Wukong. I heard a couple of things about people saying, like, it can be a Souls like, but it's not really a Souls like. It's more of like an action adventure kind of game. I mean, besides from that, I mean, the game has just been absolutely hitting massive sales chart records, and the game has sold over, I think, 10 million copies across all platforms, like Xbox, PlayStation, and PC even, except for Nintendo Switch. I do want to clarify that. No, the game is not on the Nintendo Switch. Just want to clarify that for you folks. The game is on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, and it's been just a massive hit, and people are absolutely loving it, especially because single player games nowadays, they're just so rare, it seems like. I mean, games like Elden Ring, for example, that's a single player game, and if you want, you can play the game with your friends in online co op, but people are loving Elden Ring still to this day, especially with the recent Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. People are still loving it. And with games like Baldur's Gate 3, same thing, another single player game, but you can play it with your friends, and people are loving it. Like, all the content that people want in like a single player game, it's there. Like, it's all there for you. And that's something that we don't really see, because games like Call of Duty and games like Overwatch, they usually have like a roadmap, and they usually try to market their fans with $20 skin bundles, and they try to keep you interested in these live services that are just not really working out too well. A good example, look at Conquered, for example. That game was supposed to be Sony's biggest hit, and it was supposed to be a live service game, which was in development for 8 years, and the game as a live service shut down 2 weeks after launch, and Sony wasted 8 years of development on that game, and they lost millions of dollars because of that game, and they were forced to refund people. So, still, to this day, like, everyone is still shitting on Sony, and they're still shitting on Concord because it's still one of the biggest flops in gaming history. Because once again, this just goes to show that live service games are not the way to go. Games that are like single player still hold up to this day, especially because Black Myth Wukong is a single player game and it's so well done. You can have a single player game and it can be a massive success if you put actual care, passion, time, and effort into these single player games in terms of like developing this stuff. Then people are going to like it. If you put enough effort into these games, then people are gonna like it. If you put in fun content that people are gonna enjoy, then people will love it. I think in Black Myth Wukong, there's an ability where you can duplicate yourself into like a couple of clones, and you can have those little clones help deal with a couple of tough bosses, and they can deal quite a bit of damage. I definitely see some pretty fun things on Black Myth Wukong, and with all the abilities that you can do, and with all the little things you can do in Black Myth Wukong, it definitely looks like a fun game. I would definitely mess with Black Myth Wukong this year, especially because most of the games coming out now are just mediocre as hell, and a lot of people are just not really happy with them. Because, like I said earlier, it just seems like more developers are focused on trying to work on these live services, and they're trying to make it so like it's the player's job to keep the developers' games afloat. But in reality, that's not true. It's the developer's job to make a fun video game. And if the developers don't make a fun video game, then no one's going to play it, and their sales will suffer, because again, it just seems like the developers are trying to make it like a job for people to play their live services. But like I said, that's not the case. It's the developer's job to make a fun video game. And of course, with Black Myth Wukong, a lot of people are really enjoying it. And like I've said, they have been hitting sales records. They have been just blowing people's minds. People are enjoying Black Myth Wukong. It looks like a phenomenal game, and people are happy with the way the game plays right now. And it's just so rare to see these kind of games. Developers just need to take notes on these single player games, especially because if people are happy with the way the game functions, and if people are happy with how the game works, then people are going to enjoy it and people will keep playing it. Like, single player games are still beloved by many people to this day. I personally still love single player games, and I still play a lot of single player games. Elden Ring, a single player game. I mean, games like Fallout 4, that's a single player game. Games like Minecraft, even. It can be a single player game if you want. Assassin's Creed, that's also a single player game. Corporate companies like Activision and EA, they need to learn a lesson, and they need to learn that not all live service games are going to be successful, especially because with EA's newest Madden game, nope, nobody's happy with that game. Activision's newest Call of Duty game, Black Ops 6, not a lot of people are happy with the beta right now, and Activision is running out of time for that game. But once again, Black Myth Wukong, single player game, all the content is there day one, no battle pass, no live service, no roadmap. Just saying, you don't need a live service game to make a profit. You can make single player games like Elden Ring and Black Myth Wukong to be a smash hit, and they could possibly even get you Game of the Year awards. And they can make you a lot of money. Once again, single player games, still a good trend that a lot of people love, and it's still beloved by many people, including myself. So, with this being said, thank you everyone for watching and for listening. And until next time, I'm talking about Black Myth Wukong, and I'll see you all later.